The complete works of Swami Vivekananda Rajayoga, Chapter 1, Introductory, Part 1. Before proceeding further, I will tell you a little of the Sankhya philosophy upon which the whole of Raj Yoga is based. According to the Sankhya philosophy, the genesis of perception is as follows. The affections of the external objects are carried by the outer instruments to their respective brain centers or organs. These organs carry the affections to the mind to the determinative faculty. From this, the Purush receives them back when perception results. Next, he gives the order back, as it were, to the motor centers to do the needful. With the exception of the Purush, all of these material, but the mind are finer matter than the external instruments. That material of which the mind is composed goes also to the form the subtle matter called the Tan Mantras. These become gross and make the external matter. That is the psychology of the Sankhya. So that between the intellect and the grosser matter outside, there is only a difference in degree. The Purush is the only thing which is immaterial. The mind is an instrument, as it were, in the hands of the soul, through which the soul catches external objects. The mind is constantly changing and vacillating and can, when perfected, either attach itself to several objects, to one or to none. For instance, if I hear the clock with great attention, I will not perhaps see anything, although my eyes may be open, showing that the mind was not attached to the seeing organ, showing that the mind was in fact attached to the hearing organ. But the perfected mind can be attached to all the organs simultaneously. It has the reflexive power of looking back into its own depths. This reflexive power is what the yogi wants to attain. By concentrating the powers of the mind and turning them inward, he seeks to know what is happening inside. There is in this no question of mere belief. Modern physiologists tell us that the eyes are not the organs of vision, but that the organ is one of the nerve centers of the brain, and so with all the senses. They also tell us that these centers are formed of the same material as the brain itself. The Sankhyas also tell us the same thing. The former is a statement on the physical side, and the latter on the psychological side. Yet, both are the same. Our field of research lies beyond this. The yogi proposes to attain the fine state of perception in which he can perceive all the different mental states. There must be a mental perception of all of them. One can perceive how the sensation is traveling, how the mind is receiving it, how it is going to the determinative faculty, and how this gives it to the Purush. As each science requires certain preparations and has its own method, which must be followed before it could be understood, even so in Raj Yoga. Certain regulations as to the food are necessary. We must use that food which brings us the purest mind. If you go into a menagerie, you will find this demonstrated at once. You will see the elephants, huge animals, but calm and gentle, And if you go towards the cages of the lions and the tigers, you will find them restless, showing how much difference has been made by food. All the forces that have been working in this body have been produced out of food. We see that every day. In fact, if you begin a fast, first your body will become weak. The physical forces will suffer. Then, after a few days, the mental forces will also suffer. First, memory will fail. Then comes a point when you will not be able to think, much less to pursue any course or reasoning. We have therefore to take care of what sort of food we eat at the beginning. And when we have got strength enough, when our practice is well enough, we need to be not so careful in this respect. While the plant is growing, it must be hedged round, lest it be injured. But when it becomes a tree, the hedges are taken away because it is strong enough to withstand all the assaults. A yogi must avoid the two extremes of luxury and austerity. He must not fast nor torture his flesh. He who does so, says the Gita, cannot be a yogi. He who fasts, he who keeps awake, he who sleeps much, he who works too much, he who does no work, none of these can be a yogi.